Hare Krishna everyone. So we are going to read now till 8 o'clock. Maitreya Vacha Nishamya Vaikuntha Niyochya Mukhayor Madhuchutam Vacham Murukrama Priyaha Kritabhish Kritabhisheka Kritanitya Mangalo Munin Pramya Shisham Abhyavadayat. The great sage Maitreya continued. Maharaj Dhruva was very dear to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When he heard the sweet speeches of the Lord's chief associates in the Vaikuntha planet, he immediately took his sacred bath, dressed himself with suitable ornaments, and performed his daily spiritual duties. Thereafter, he offered his respectful obeisances to the great sages present there and accepted their blessings. So the plane has come for Dhruva Maharaj to go back to Vaikuntha. And Nanda and Sunanda are there on the plane to escort Dhruva Maharaj. And they are saying that this plane has been sent by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Please board this plane and come back to Vishnu Lok. Come to Vishnu Lok. Please come and live with us eternally. So, you have pleased the Supreme Personality of Godhead as a 5-year-old, and we have been appointed by the Supreme Lord to take you back. So, like that, this whole conversation is going. And where were we? Yeah. Let's see where we lost my. We should mark how dutiful Dhruva Maharaj. So when he was about to board the plane, he did his daily spiritual duties. The plane is waiting. He performed his daily sadhana, spiritual duties. He offered respect to all the great sages who were present there. He has gone to where? Badrik Ashram. And there are other sages also. So he's offering them respects. He's not like in a very hurry to board the plane. He does his sadhana, he offers his respect to all the great sages, following, the Vaishnava etiquette. And he's very humble. He's not thinking, oh, Lord Vishnu has sent the plane for me. See, I am great. And you all sages, you are still here. I'm going back home, back to Godhead. He offers his respectful obeisances to everybody. And he's accepting their blessings to board the plane and go back. So we should mark how dutiful Dhruva Maharaj was in his devotional service, even at the time he left this material world. So even on that day when he was going back home, back to Godhead, that day also he performed his sadhana. So like Kadamba Kanan Maharaj, right? He wanted to chant 16 rounds till the very end. And so many others, Bhakti Tirth Maharaj, even in that difficult situation. Maybe they would not have been able to. I don't know how the situation was, whether they were able to or not, because they were in a health crisis. But there was strong desire to do their sadhana, even in the difficult situation. Of course, here it's a pleasant situation. So either in difficulty or pleasant situation, the devotee does not forget to perform his sadhana. He was constantly alert in the performance of devotional duties. So also, when we miss like our chanting, we should feel bad. Yes, I missed my chanting. I missed today rising early. Like that. Constantly alert. Every devotee should take his bath early in the morning and decorate his body with tilak. In Kali Yuga, one can hardly acquire gold or jeweled ornaments, but the 12 tilak marks on the body are sufficient as auspicious decorations to purify the body. So body is like a temple, and of course, don't put that every day. But we should actually. This is the ideal situation. We should decorate the body because we are chanting mantras also. Om Keshavaya Namaha, Narayana Namaha, Om Madhavaya Namaha. And remembering the Lord's different forms. Since Dhruva Maharaj was living at that time at Badrikashram, there were other great sages there. He did not become puffed up because the airplane sent by Lord Vishnu was waiting for him. As a humble Vaishnava, he accepted blessings from all the sages before riding on the plane brought by the chief of the Vaikuntha associates. So, till the very last, he was very submissive to the sages, to the great souls, and he was not at all proud that the plane has come for him and not for others. So, he still accepted blessings from all the sages there. So, like Prahlad Maharaj also, when he was sent to pacify Narsinghadev, then he was saying that, I am born in a demoniac family. He didn't think I am the chosen one and, everybody cannot satisfy Narsinghadev. I am the one there. He was thinking that I am born in a demonic family. The demigods are not able to satisfy. So, what is my qualification? So, that way he was feeling very humble. So, this is like the characteristic of pure devotional service, that they don't feel themselves very qualified and they feel that they have no love for Krishna. Krishnera prem, Krishnera premera
प्रेमेरा स्वभाव यहाँ प्रेमेरा
sambandh
से माने
nahi.
कृष्ण मोरे नाही प्रेम बंध.
Premera swabhav yaha premera sambandh. So that is how they give respect to others till their very last breath. Okay, so
So I was thinking about the ornament as you were saying. Amrinda Prabhu was saying that tilak and kanthimala is the ornament of a devotee. So tilak is like how the chaste wife has sindoor on her head, and she has Mangal Sutra in her neck. So that's the kanthimala. Also, Chaitanya Charitamrita, I'm pasting a verse. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is telling Sanatan Goswami, यद्यपि तुम्ही होय जगत पावन तुम्हा स्पर्श पवित्र होय देव मुनिगण तथापि भक्त स्वभाव मर्यादा रक्षण मर्यादा पालन होय साधुरा भूषण. So what is the ornament of a devotee? So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying, my dear Sanatan, although you are the deliverer of the entire universe, and although even the demigods and great saints are purified by touching you, it is a characteristic of a devotee to observe and protect the Vaishnav etiquette. Maintenance of the Vaishnav etiquette is the ornament of a devotee. I think this is in reference to Sanatan Goswami taking the longer route through the sand of the ocean, right? He didn't want to be coming in contact with the priests of the Jagannath temple because he had a skin disease. So Mahaprabhu was pleased with him. So Vaishnava etiquette, following the regulative principles, being respectful, humble, as you're saying. Also in Bhagavatam, in the Kapil Dev section, Titikshava Karunika, Surida Sarvadehinam, Ajat Shatrava Shanta, Sadhava Sadhu Bhushanam. So these are the ornaments of a devotee, being tolerant, merciful, friendly, having no enemies, being peaceful, and abiding by the scriptures.
nice, thank you for sharing that. So also, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was being criticized by who? Ramchandra Puri. He was not retaliating. He was not saying, because Ramchandra Puri is the
He's the god brother of his spiritual master, Madhavendra Puri.
so uh, Ishwara Puri, right?
Oh, yeah, Ishwara Puri.
So he was very respectful, even though he was so like that. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself displayed. This. Okay. So next verse. I was going to say something. I forgot it. परित्याभ्यचर्य दिष्णार्घ्यं पार्षदाव अभिवन्दन्य च येषा तद् अधिष्ठातुं बिभ्रद्रूपं हिरण्मयम्. Even Prahlad Maharaj was very respectful to his father, although he did not accept what his father said, but he was very respectful to his father because he is father like that. Of course, he did not follow what he wanted him to do, but talking very nicely and very respectfully. Before getting aboard, Dhruva Maharaj worshipped the airplane, circumambulated it. So he is going to step on the airplane and he worshipped the airplane. The paraphernalia of Vishnu is not different from Vishnu. So you can worship the Tadiya. Circumambulated it like we have on Radhashtami, we have auction of different items. So those are also worshipable. The Lord's clothes, the Lord's whatever ornaments. Before getting aboard, Dhruva Maharaj worshipped the airplane, circumambulated it, and also offered obeisances to the associates of Vishnu. In the meantime, he became as brilliant and illuminating as molten gold. So he was glowing, radiating effulgence. Like when gold is melted, it becomes very bright and yellow, golden complexion like that. He was thus completely prepared to board the transcendental plane. In the absolute world, the plane, the associates of Lord Vishnu and Lord Vishnu himself are all spiritual. Plane is not, maybe it's also a person. It's not maybe, it's a person. So it's a personality because Prabhupada is saying everything is spiritual. There is no matter in the spiritual world. Everything is conscious. There is no material contamination. In quality, everything there is one. As Lord Vishnu is worshipable, so also are his associates, his paraphernalia, his airplane, and his abode. For everything of Vishnu's is as good as Lord Vishnu. Dhruva Maharaj knew all this very well as a pure Vaishnava, and he offered his respects to the associates and to the plane before riding in it. But in the meantime, his body changed into spiritual existence. So his body became spiritualized, Satchidananda, and therefore it was illuminating like molten gold. In this way, he also became one with the other paraphernalia of Vishnu Lok. Means same in nature. Mayavadi philosophers cannot imagine how this oneness can be achieved even in different varieties. Their idea of oneness is that there is no variety. So there is oneness in interest, harmony in desires. Not that everything is, there is no variety and it's all one together, lumped together, homogeneous. No, there is variety, but like in a company, there are many different employees. Every employee is individual, but they are all working for the interest of the company. So like that. Therefore, they have become impersonalists. As Shishumar, Vishnu Lok or Dhruva Lok are completely, so they think there is no variety and therefore they have become impersonalists. As Shishumar, Vishnu Lok or Dhruva Lok are completely different from this material world. So Vishnu temple within this world is also completely different from this material world. So the temple of the Lord is like, spiritual world, is the spiritual world. Just like Prabhupada gave the example that if you have an American embassy in Tanzania or somewhere, in a third world country, In the American embassy, everything is American. The furniture, and maybe they have brought it locally, but they have very nice. It's not like even in a poor country, if there is a rich country's embassy, then that's like so. Everything in the temple is kind of from the spiritual world, or it is used in Krishna's service, so everything is spiritualized. So, as soon as we are in a temple, we should know very well that we are situated differently from the material world. In the temple, Lord Vishnu, his throne, his room, and all other things are associated with the temple are transcendental. The three, so sometimes we go, Vrindavan is also here in the temple, is Vrindavan, because there is the Lord, everything is done for the pleasure of the Lord. The Lord is the center. The three modes, Sattvagun, Rajogun, and Tamogun, have no entrance into the temple. If the devotees are, pure. It is said, therefore, that to live in the forest is in the mode of goodness, to live in the city is in the mode of passion, and to live in a brothel, liquor shop, or a slaughterhouse is in the mode of ignorance. But to live in the temple means to live in Vaikuntha Lok. Everything in the temple is as worshipable as Lord Vishnu or Krishna. Okay, so Aradhanam sarvesham Vishnu Aradhanam param tasmat parataram devi taddiyanam samarchanam. So taddiya means the devotees and also all the paraphernalia of the Lord is also worshipable. Okay, this verse we say that the worship of devotee is higher than that of Vishnu. So we worship Srila Prabhupada also in the temple. So in this way, he was ready to board the plane. Any comments anybody has?
So that's why some devotees chose to give up their bodies in the temple, right, in America, like Bhakti Tirtha Swami, Gita Nagari, instead of going to Vrindavan. So it's same.
Good point. Yeah. Okay, so the next, wherever the pure devotee has gone, that also becomes a Tirthasthan. Tirthi.
Tirthi Kuvanti Tirthani.
So, Tadotana putro dadarshantakam agatam murdni padam datva arurohadbhutam griham. When Dhruva Maharaj was attempting to get on the transcendental plane, he saw death personified approach him. Not caring for death, however, he took advantage of the opportunity to put his feet on the head of death, and thus he got up on the airplane, which was as big as a house. So basically, this is signifying that he conquered death, because now he's going to Vaikuntha. So when you go back to Vaikuntha, you conquer birth, death, old age, disease. So death personified was standing there, and he put his feet on the head of death. Means, yeah, let's see what Prabhupada says. And the airplane was big as a house. It was a very big airplane. To take the passing away of a devotee and the passing away of a non-devotee as one and the same is completely misleading. While ascending the transcendental airplane, Dhruva Maharaj suddenly saw death personified before him, but he was not afraid. Because he's going back to Vaikuntha Lok. So why would he be afraid? Nanda and Sunanda have come. If Yamadutas come, then we'll be afraid. But here, Sunanda and Nanda have come, and he knows what his destination is. He's going to a very nice place. So he was not at all afraid. In the company of, loving devotees who are going to welcome him there in the spiritual world. So he's excited, he's anticipating happiness. So Prabhupada says devotee's death and non-devotee's death is not same. For the devotees, the pure devotees, Vishnu Dutas come. For the sinful person, Yamadutas come. So instead of death's giving him trouble, Dhruva Maharaj took advantage of death's presence and put his feet on the head of death. So there was a person standing there, death personified. People with a poor fund of knowledge do not know the difference between the death of a devotee and the death of a non-devotee. Like yesterday was mentioned in the class, right? In this connection, an example can be given. A cat carries its kitten in its mouth and it also catches a rat in its mouth. So externally it may look like both are dying, but their destinations are different. Or one feels the loving embrace of the mother, like the kitten. The other feels terrified. Just imagine you if you are the kitten, how you would feel. And if you are the rat in cat's mouth, how would you feel? So we can visualize, right? How what is the difference in experience? The kitten is completely, convinced that my mother is not going to eat me up. And the rat is so terrified. Any moment I'll be now eaten. So superficially the catching of the rat and kitten appears to be one and the same, but actually they are not. When the cat catches the rat in its mouth, it means death for the rat. Whereas when the cat catches the kitten enjoys it. Yeah, he feels protected. One feels protected and one feels terrified. So, of course, it's not like the Lord wants to terrify anybody. But no, the Lord does not want anybody to become like in anxiety and, you know. But this is how this world is because if we do harm to other living entities, we have caused them terror. So then, to be just, some terror has to come back to us also. Like when people kill animals and so many things, then it is causing them so much terror. They are going through so much terror. Imagine somebody comes like with a gun in front of you and wants to shoot you. How much terror you would feel, right? So here, so many animals are being butchered and things like that, hunting and how much terror, pain we are causing to the animals and other living entities also. So if we cause pain, naturally that's how the Lord has set up the system because He has to be just to all the living entities. So we get a taste of our own medicine. So the Lord doesn't like it to, but of course if we reform and we say no, I will not do this, then the Lord pardons. When Dhruva Maharaj boarded the airplane, he took advantage of the arrival of death personified. Like so many people are eating non-vegetarian, they don't know what has gone what the animal went through. You're just eating in nice restaurant or something like that. But what the pain they went through and the struggle and everything, we can't relate to that. So when Dhruva Maharaj boarded the airplane, so we should not give anxiety to anybody. We should not. Yasman no dvijate loko, lokan no dvijita chaya. We should not be a source of terror for others. Rather, as you were saying, we should be friendly. Didikshava karunika surida sarvadehina. Maitra karuna evacha. Adveshta sarvabhutanam. Maitra karuna evacha. When Dhruva Maharaj boarded the airplane, these are the qualities of a devotee. Krishna is friend to everybody, the devotees also. Surida sarvadehina. When Dhruva Maharaj boarded the airplane, he took advantage of the arrival of death personified, who came to offer him obeisances. Putting his feet on the head of death, he got upon the unique airplane, which is described here to be as big as a house. There are many other similar instances in Bhagavad literature. It is stated that when Kardam Muni created an airplane to carry his wife Devahuti all over the universe, the airplane was like a big city carrying many houses, lakes, and gardens. It was like a castle. So we have like, big airplanes, and there's business class in the airplanes. But still, it is not as big as any of these planes. It's like a house. You can sleep, you can wander about. There were lakes, there were gardens. Still, we have not made such a big, like, it was like a city, and it was moving in the sky. Modern scientists have manufactured big airplanes, but they are packed with passengers who experience all sorts of discomforts while riding in them. So, narrow seat like that. Because they want to make money, so they can't have too much. They want to squeeze in as many people as possible. And in business class, you have more comfort. You can sleep and little bit more, but still, it is not like completely comfortable. More comfortable than, and you have to pay a lot of money also. Material scientists are not even perfect in manufacturing a material airplane. In order to compare to the plane used by Kardama or the plane sent from Vishnulok, they must manufacture an airplane equipped like a big city with all comforts of life, lakes, gardens, parks, etc. Their plane must be able to fly in outer space and hover and visit all other planets. If they invent such a plane, they will not have to make different space stations for fuel to travel into outer space. Such a plane would have unlimited supply of fuel, or like the plane from Vishnu would fly without it. Okay, so now we may think this is humbug, because we have no experience of how can there be like a plane with lakes and so everything is like that. What we experience in this planet, other planets, there are much higher planets are much like in this planet there are many different in America or advanced developed countries. There is so many things that are automated. Like there are big cranes and so many things. There are huge structures are built. So, but if you go to a very poor country, they don't have those facilities. So even in this planet, we have different kinds of situations. So in the universe also, there are different kinds of there are more advanced. So we can't rule them out, saying that this is not possible. How can this? Because I have no experience. This is all some mythology. Okay. Any comments on that verse?
Yeah, so I mean, see how for a pure devotee, how he conquers over death. But also Bhagavatam gives description of those who die in a material consciousness, like in the Kapila Muni section. There are few verses in the chapter that we were reading in the evening. A man who engaged with his uncontrolled senses in maintaining a family, he dies in great grief, seeing his relatives crying. He dies most pathetically, in great pain and without consciousness, and he sees the messengers of death, Yamadutas. And he is in great fear and he passes stool and urine. So there are few verses. If you would like to read, we can. Because Bhagavatam is trying to make us fearful because our choices will lead to our destination. This is what is going to happen if we engage with uncontrolled senses.
You want to share the which
Pasting them. Link. So that starts with verse 18.
Okay. Uh,
You can stay there only. If you would like to read the verses.
yeah, you can read. How many verses are there?
It will be like 10.
10 verses. Read.
Should I read?
Yeah.
Okay. Thus, the man who engaged with uncontrolled senses in maintaining a family dies in great grief, seeing his relatives crying. He dies most pathetically in great pain and without consciousness. At death, he sees the messengers of the Lord of Death come before him, their eyes full of wrath, and in great fear he passes stool and urine. As a criminal is arrested for punishment by the constables of the state, a person engaged in criminal sense gratification is similarly arrested by the Yamadutas, who bind him by the neck with strong rope and cover his subtle body so that he may undergo severe punishment. So he gets yatna sharir. While carried by the constables of Yamraj, he is overwhelmed and trembles in their hands. While passing on the road, he is bitten by dogs, and he can remember the sinful activities of his life. He is thus terribly distressed. Under the scorching sun, the criminal has to pass through roads of hot sand with forest fires on both the sides. He is whipped on the back by the constables because of his inability to walk, and he is afflicted by hunger and thirst. But unfortunately, there is no drinking water, no shelter, and no place for rest on the road. While passing on that road to the abode of Yamraj, he falls down in fatigue and sometimes he becomes unconscious, but he is forced to rise again. In this way, he is very quickly brought to the presence of Yamraj. Thus, he has to pass 99,000 yojnas within 2 or 3 moments, and then he is at once engaged in the torturous punishment which he is destined to suffer. He is placed in the midst of burning pieces of wood, and his limbs are set on fire. In some cases, he is made to eat his own flesh or have it eaten by others. His entrails are pulled out by the hounds and vultures of hell, even though he is still alive to see it, and he is subjected to torment by serpents, scorpions, gnats, and other creatures that bite him. Next, his limbs are lopped off and torn asunder by elephants. He is hurled down from hilltops, and he is also held captive either in water or in a cave. Men and women whose lives were built upon indulgence in illicit sex life are put into many kinds of miserable conditions in the hell known as Tamishra, Andha Tamishra, and Raurav. So Lord Kapil Dev is saying, my dear mother, it is sometimes said that we experience hell or heaven on this planet, for hellish punishments are sometimes visible on this planet also. So after leaving his body, the man who maintained himself and his family members by sinful activities suffers such a hellish life, and his relatives suffer also. So, I mean, we have been to hell so many times. I mean, all these things we have experienced ourselves, right? We have not been back to Vaikuntha, so we have not had the experience as Dhruva Maharaj has. But we have been to this hellish planets.
Hmm. Yes, so if you want to be saved from going to hell, then we should surrender to Krishna. We chant the holy name, change our desires, which is very difficult, but all this happens when we chant Hare Krishna. Like yesterday, devotees were saying how different transformations happen based on the chanting of the holy name. So, and we have to chant more and more like that. Ideally, we should always chant and hear. There should be no other engagement. 24 hours, we should chant and hear and be engaged in service. Then we will be saved. So, uninterruptedly, just for pleasing Krishna, we should be engaged in service.
And we
That's.
should think that we have done a lot of sinful activities for millions of lifetimes.
Mhm.
So, I mean, as the verses were saying, that not only there is a hell separately, but this in this material world also, people experience hellish conditions. Or somebody gets a disease or gets into an accident. There's so much pain this body can. give. So those sufferings are coming unless we practice devotional service, which will destroy all our bad karma.
Hmm. So, hearing all this, then one should ideally drop all desires for material enjoyment and just take to the shelter of Krishna and devotional service. That's all. That's how this all this is meant to bring us to. So we should say, oh no, this is not good. I will go. I should drop all my desires for. Of course, even if there are pious desires for sense gratification, still you have to be in the cycle of birth and death. So we should drop all and just desire. We cannot be desireless, but we can desire to serve Krishna only. That's the. I mean, Prabhupada wants us all to become pure devotees. So, so this material desires are not our friends. You know, they are like our enemies. Rather, we are thinking they are our friends. So material desires are also called anarthas. Anarthas means they are not valuable, but we think they are very valuable because we are in our conditioned state. Something which is valuable, we are thinking it is not valuable, and something which is valuable, we are thinking it is not valuable. Something that is not valuable, we are thinking very valuable. So this is the effect of Maya, illusion. So
Also, Bhagavad Gita says, Trividham narkeshadam dwaram nashnam atmana kama kro tatha lobhas tasmad etat trayam tyajet. There are three gates to hell: lust, anger, and greed. Every sane man should give these up, for they lead to the degradation of the soul. So our desires to enjoy in this material world, it can grow our these anarthas, and these anarthas can make us do anything sinful. So will
correct.
lead us down.
Blinded by the desire to enjoy. So many murders have happened, right? So many people have murdered, um, lust for power, so many people like that.
And
They've
in a
done
fit
so.
of anger, they have shot someone, or just in the moment.
Correct. So all these things are not easy to control, but that is why we have to take shelter of Krishna. Only if we take, that's the only way we can become free from this. So all the time we have to be engaged. For protection, we have to protect ourselves from. So for that, for protection, we can approach the Lord. Krishna, protect me from all these material desires which are very bad. We are thinking this defines my personality, this is who I am, and but actually it is just. That's why when we hear about all these things, it is kind of shaking us up to the core, because for so many lifetimes and so many, we have considered these things as very valuable. But now in spiritual life, it completely changes the conception of what is valuable. So it's not so easy to accept many times, because our value system is completely now shaken up. If we really take it deep inside the heart, then only, of course, otherwise we hear, then we forget. But really, if we take this message to heart, then it causes little discomfort, because what we are thinking is so valuable, suddenly somebody comes and says, oh, this is not valuable, this is actually detrimental for your bhakti, for your actual good. So, so that then it becomes like, oh, I was all the time thinking this is very good for me, but now somebody is saying, no, this is not good. So it's then our life, yeah, is shaken up. So like that. Of course, by chanting Hare Krishna, all this philosophy will make sense and more, and we will experience also happiness in chanting Hare Krishna, in serving Krishna. So then we will come to know, no, what they are saying is true. And we may have experienced also misery due to sense gratification. So we can also remember that, yes, this, and we can compare and contrast the two things. And say, no, this path is good. This path of this is miserable. This path of sense. So in this way, we become more and more convinced. Some experience like that also, and then looking at others. So ultimately, the pure devotee is completely convinced that there is no happiness other than in devotional service, no other happiness in any other fulfillment of any material desires. He is convinced like that. Not convinced, but he's experiencing that happiness, spiritual happiness. So, like we are convinced that eating meat is bad, right? Eating meat is bad. So if somebody brings chicken or saying whatever, which we may have eaten previously, whatever, but we don't even want to look at it. So the same thing the pure devotee feels with all opportunities for sense gratification. Like Yamunacharya says, I don't even want to think about all this. This is like, I mean, he's thinking, but he's saying, I just spit at it. I don't just, it's so tuchha. But of course, it's not like we can say like that, but our actions speak louder than words also, they say. So, like in the bhav, who has bhav for the Lord? Well, then these are the symptoms of bhav. Not that because somebody is crying and then, but are you having these symptoms and are those symptoms steady? Not that today I feel bhav and tomorrow, I'm completely out. So, yeah, but that's good. At least one day you felt bhav. That's good. But these are like, avyartha kalatvam, virakti, detachment, manashunyata, like that we have the barometer. So anybody can say, I have so much love for Krishna. But Krishna says, are these qualities developing in you? I am doing so much devotional service. Like somebody was saying yesterday, some people do lot of like they chant so many different prayers and this, but their behavior is not at all something like that. Somebody may say. So then, yeah, you're doing, but it is not reflecting in your actions and your behavior. So, are you really doing bhakti? That is also something to be. Are the qualities getting developed in you? So that is also one way Prabhupada says. Because one who becomes unflinchingly devoted to Krishna, then all the good qualities will develop automatically. Yasyasti bhaktir bhagvatya kinchana sarve gunais tatra samasate sura. So otherwise, we if I say I'm becoming healthy, but I'm still having this fever, I'm still, having 103 degrees fever, then how you're healthy? You're not healthy. So like that, falena parichiyate. It says you recognize everything by the fruit. So, so Prabhupada would say many times, this is the test of spiritual advancement, that your desires for sense gratification are going away. And if it is not going away, that means that's okay. We should not pose ourselves as a very advanced devotee and like that. And we should, and even if we don't have still, then we'll become humble. Yes, it is only Krishna's mercy that I have been able to give this up. It is nothing. Krishna has been merciful to me, so he has taken away my material desires. So like that. So not caring for death. Okay. When Dhruva Maharaj, I think we read this. The next verse. Tadadundu bhayo nedur midanga panavadaya Gandharva Mukhya Prajagu Petu Kusuma Ritsaya. At that time, drums and kettle drums resounded from the sky. The chief Gandharvas began to sing, and other demigods showered flowers like torrents of rain upon Dhruva Maharaj. Sacha swarlokam arukshan sunitim jananim dhruvaha anvasmaradagam hitva dinam yasye trivishtapam. Dhruva was seated in the transcendental airplane, which was just about to start. When he remembered his poor mother, Suniti, he thought to himself, how shall I go alone to Vaikuntha planet and leave behind my poor mother? So he is very concerned. Oh, not that I am going back to Godhead. Those who have helped him in his journey back home, back to Godhead, he is concerned about them. Are they also getting benefited? I am going, but what about them? Because they helped me. So he is grateful. A devotee is grateful to whoever has helped on the path of devotional service. So it was Suniti who gave him initial instructions on how to approach the Supreme Lord, where to go, or even to approach the Supreme Lord. Of course, Suruchi also told him, and then Suniti confirmed. Suruchi told out of envy. So was Suruchi a devotee at that time? Although she said you should take shelter of Vishnu, and then no, because she had envy in her heart. So so devotee is non-envious. They say nirmatsara nam satam. These are the qualities of a devotee. Adveshta. Adveshta means without envy. So he thought to himself, how shall I go alone to Vaikuntha planet and leave behind my poor mother? Dhruva had a feeling of obligation to his mother, Suniti. It was Suniti who had given him the clue, which had now enabled him to be personally carried to the Vaikuntha planet by the associate of the Lord. He now remembered her and wanted to take her with him. Actually, Dhruva Maharaj's mother Suniti was his Pat Pradaraksha Guru. Pat Pradaraksha Guru means the Guru or spiritual master who shows the way. Such a Guru is sometimes called Shiksha Guru. Although Narad Muni was his Diksha Guru, his mother was the first who gave him instruction on how to achieve the favor of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is the duty of Shiksha Guru or Diksha Guru to instruct the disciple in the right way, and it depends on the disciple to execute the process. According to Shastric injunctions, there is no difference between Shiksha Guru and Diksha Guru, and generally the Shiksha Guru later on becomes the Diksha Guru. Suniti, however, being a woman, and specifically his mother, could not become Dhruva Maharaj's Diksha Guru. Still, he was not less obliged to Suniti. There was no question of carrying Narad Muni to Vaikuntha Lok. But Dhruva Maharaj, because Narad Muni is already liberated, Dhruva Maharaj thought of his mother. Whatever plan the Supreme Personality of Godhead contemplates immediately fructifies. Similarly, a devotee who is completely dependent on the Supreme Lord can also fulfill his wishes by the grace of the Lord. The Lord fulfills his wishes independently, but a devotee fulfills his wishes simply by being dependent on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, as soon as Dhruva Maharaj thought of his poor mother, he was assured by the associates of Vishnu that Suniti was also going to Vaikuntha Lok in another plane. Dhruva Maharaj had thought that he was going alone to Vaikuntha Lok, leaving behind his mother, which was not very auspicious because people would criticize him for going alone to Vaikuntha Lok and not carrying with him Suniti, not carrying with him Suniti, who had given him so much. But Dhruva also considered that he was not personally the Supreme. Therefore, if Krishna fulfilled his desires, only then would it be possible. So he had the desire that Suniti should also be going back home to Vaikuntha with him. So because Krishna reciprocates with the desires of his devotees, Krishna would immediately understand his mind. Therefore, if Krishna fulfilled his desires, only then would it be possible. Krishna could immediately understand his mind. And he told Dhruva that his mother was also going with him. This incident proves that a pure devotee like Dhruva Maharaj can fulfill all his desires by the grace of the Lord. He becomes exactly like the Lord, and thus whenever he thinks of anything, his wish is immediately fulfilled. Like Prabhupada said, let there be temple here, and then Juhu temple manifested, right? So it is the desire of pure devotee. He wants to liberate. Of course, then we may say, well, the pure devotee wants to liberate all the living entities, like Vasudev Dutt. What did he tell Lord Chaitanya? He tell, give me the sins, right, of everyone, and let them all be delivered. So that's the desire of the pure devotee. They want to deliver everybody, which is same as Krishna's desire. Krishna also wants all the jivas to come back to him, not suffer in this material existence. He wants to shut down this material existence once and for all. So, like the government would like to shut down the prison, right? Obviously.
Especially the family members of the devotees, as Narsinghadev says, 21 generations are liberated if one person becomes a pure devotee in the family. So
Yeah,
mother is liberated that way also.
correct. And yeah, devotees
And
desire.
Prahlad Maharaj also saying,
Correct. Yeah.
and Prahlad Maharaj also saying that, right? There's a verse, right? That those who are the saintly person who are doing going out of the cities and town and the Himalayas, and they meditate there, meditate over there. They are not interested in delivering others. But as for him, he don't want to wish liberated alone, right? And leaving all these fools, poor souls, which is they are without Krishna consciousness. So he was very, he was wishing to bring them back to the shelter of Lord Narasimhadev.
Correct.
I don't remember the whole verse, but it's saying that I think it starts with
Nego tujhe
Trayena Deva. No, if I'm not wrong, but it says that Trayan Deva Munes.
So Vimukti Kama,
Yeah,
Yeah,
Maunam
he said two
Charanti.
times.
Yes.
Prahlad Maharaj became Vasudev Dutt in his next life in Chaitanya Leela. So it's the same personality.
So Vaishnava always feels like, oh, everybody is suffering. Prabhupada had tears in his eyes many times, right? Like that. He's feeling so much for the other jivas. So, so like that. That's the compassion of the Vaishnava. Okay.
I
So
think in
Also,
the
but
in yeah, go ahead, Mataji. Actually, I just remind that I think in Bhagavad Gita, or I think in Bhagavatam, somewhere it is in the purport, it is mentioned that the devotees are called as aparakya buddhi, right? They are very compassionate to every conditioned souls, because they think like that if a particular part of the body is diseased, so the whole attention of the body gets to that part. So the devotees are care for any person who is forgetful of Krishna, who are in material consciousness, and so they are equal vision of the devotees. And then he, works to get all the living entities back home, back to Godhead.
yeah, but at the same time, Prabhupada says the highest realization is to save oneself. Everybody has to fly their own plane, so everybody is responsible for their own destination. While we can do our endeavors to preach, but we should we should put focus on us, whether we have become pure or not. So yesterday, Achinta Prabhu had posted something where Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj was saying, in the process of preaching, we forget to become Krishna conscious ourselves. We want to make others Krishna conscious, but we ourselves are not. So I think that should be the focus first, is for us to become a pure devotee. And of course, we preach as much as we can, but we don't, everybody has to take their own responsibility.
and preaching also helps ourselves. Like if you have to give a class or something, right? So we also read about, like Ramtirtha Prabhu was telling me that, he said, I never read so much about Lord Nityananda, that now because I have to give class, so I have to read. And so that also
Yeah,
helps.
but also that example was given, right, where somebody is giving the class for offering Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam to the Lord, but he himself is not doing that. So very
Correct.
easy to say and very hard to implement ourselves. So as a preacher, we should also contemplate: Am I doing this? One person, one mother came to a sage and she said, "You tell my son to not eat sweets." So the sage said, "Okay, you come after 1 week." And after 1 week, he said, "You should not eat sweets." So the mother asked, "Why did you wait for 1 week?" And said, "Because I myself was eating sweets. I cannot tell this to others if I am not doing it myself. So as preachers, we should contemplate, am I doing this myself?
Yeah, Janma Sarthak Kari Karo Paropkar, right? We say like that. So first we have to apply, and then otherwise nobody will take us seriously also. So if I tell you should come to Mangala Arati and you don't see me only in the Mangala Arati, then nobody will take us seriously also. Yeah. You should chant attentively, and this you are not only chanting attentively. You should do like this. You should not make Vaishnava aparadh. We are only doing like so. So it is both. I mean, we have to do our sadhana and we have to share. So sadhana is service, preaching is also service. We should do it in the right consciousness that I am doing it as service to please Srila Prabhupada. I don't have so much compassion, but Prabhupada wants me to do this service. That's why I am doing it to please him. And from that consciousness of pleasing the pure devotee, then we make also spiritual advancement. So if it is done as a service, like chanting, hearing is also service. Sharing Krishna consciousness is also service. So if you do it in the right consciousness, then also it helps. Okay, because service will only purify our heart. How will we become pure? By service. So, okay. So if we distribute books of Srila Prabhupada, then we are doing service to Srila Prabhupada. Cleaning the temple is also service. Okay, so we'll stop here for now. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Prabhuji.